doesn't? Who doesn't want to look good with nothing involved? But no, she's enjoyed it. It's just been she's kind of gotten the real powerlifting experience where she's experiencing some of those soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
And the hard part of powerlifting is, she kind of looked at it as she has a very high work capacity and she will crush people in the gym in terms of like training very intensively. And she kind of looked at me and she said, well, you're just doing 1 rep or 2 reps or 3 reps. But she's finding out now is like to get yourself to the point where you can do that, like requires a lot of energy and focus.
Yeah.
And also to keep yourself intact.
It's almost like there's a conditioning associated to strength too.
Yeah. And also keeping yourself just intact, like she's had some hip flexor issues and some lower back issues, and just keeping yourself intact, that requires, an hour of rehab and prehab work every single day.
It's tedious, isn't it?
It sucks. Like I'm talking about now coming back from my back injury because I've been working with Dr. Stu McGill and Brian Carroll, as well as Andres.
Your back injury was like catastrophic, right? I mean, this is a huge deal.
It incapacitated me for a few days. Now the injury itself actually isn't that bad. It's and McGill said he's like your back
You're just
is
a
actually
wimp? Is that what?
well it's the location where it is, the bulge disc where it is. When a bulge disc.
I like that word bulge.
Yeah, me too. Of course, who doesn't. When a bulge disc flares, it basically locks you up. And what he was describing, because I didn't have any radiating pain, I didn't have anything like that. It was just all localized in my lower back. But when it was flared up, what had happened was I kind of tweaked it around Thanksgiving a little bit on a deadlift. And then I definitely re-aggravated on a pause squat about 3 weeks later. And then the next day I had my kids and I was kind of like picking them up and putting them down and picking them up and putting them down. And by that night, I couldn't even hardly move. And I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and I got halfway around the bed and Holly had to come get me because I could not move. And she had to help me like the rest of the day. So I had to go get a cortisone shot just because I couldn't even work. Like I was just laying there on the ground.
Steroids. Does that kick you out of the USAPL?
No, those are catabolic steroids. They're fine with that. But no, I couldn't even move, so.
But on a more legitimate question, can an athlete have a cortisone shot and compete?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you could argue about,
there's
the monster going. You can argue about, isn't that performance enhancing?
Yeah.
And yes,
Right.
you got guys getting cortisone shots in NFL right before they go
and
out.
are you going to lift more? You can potentially say, you'll lift a lot more because you're not as in much pain, right?
Right. So, but the rules are it's legal. It's a catabolic steroid, so you're not building muscle with it. You're actually breaking down tissue with it, inflammation. But, I had to get that because I couldn't move. And I was looking at it like, and my insurance didn't cover it. It was $600. So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of a tight ass, so I don't like spending money.
No,
but I'm like, I can't.
Don't say that about yourself, Layne.
But I can't, I'm sitting there, well, if I can't work, $600 is going to go really fast in terms of what I could make just being able to work. Right. So, but, in terms of when McGill saw me, and for those of you who don't know, Dr. Stu McGill is kind of renowned as like the back guru.
Yeah, what,
like
30, 40 years?
Yeah, and
like
he's published tons of studies and worked with many, many high-level athletes, including, Brian Carroll had a horrific back injury. Like if you read The Gift of Injury, which is Brian and Stu's book they co-wrote, Brian, like in the book, talks about how he was ready to like having suicidal thoughts because he was like this high-level powerlifter. I think he was the first guy to squat over 1,000 at 242.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he did some crazy stuff. I definitely squatted over 1,100 too. I mean, he was insanely strong. And
I think he squatted over 1,000 pounds in competition more times than anybody in the history of powerlifting.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Like 50 times or something.
Athlete.
So, but he had like when they got when Stu looked at his MRI, he had multiple disc herniations. He had in-plate fractures at every single vertebra.
Wow.
And
I think he showed me a picture of it. It was just crazy.
And he had split his sacrum. Like he had broken sacrum.
Yeah.
He had a broken back,
That's crazy.
And so his was much worse. And in fact, he went to Stu and was like, I'm being upfront with you. I want to compete again. And Stu was like, let's see if we can get you pain-free first, and then if that's there. And then a year later, Brian was squatting 1,000 pounds again.
Pain-free is something like, it's a key word. I think that as powerlifters, we're like, we should be in pain. We should have discomfort, but we shouldn't have a lot of pain. And sometimes, you're going to have Your knee's going to be inflamed, your
Yep.
elbow, your shoulder, but like it shouldn't be a lot of pain. I always try to encourage people that if your pain level is above a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10, then start to look into other exercises, start to try to figure out how to rehab or prehab that area, because you don't want to end up in these
Yeah, there's
situations
Brian's.
when you can't lift. All of us, we like to joke around about lifting, and we like to have fun while we're lifting and everything, but we don't understand like how much it really means to us.
Oh yeah.
It defines you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I have an academic background to fall back on because I still have a little bit of an identity.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're just known for you lift big heavy weights and that's how you make your living too. I mean, plus like in this industry, people will forget about you like that. Like
Yeah.
I had 6 months where I kind of was dealing with a lot of stuff and it was like the how fast things went away. It was incredible, but
I mean, I have to have flashback videos pop up here and there just to communicate that with people.
Yeah.
Because nowadays on Instagram there's a lot of people and it's like, I guess you want to kind of show people what makes you an expert in this particular area, like what's your background type of thing. And I feel it's important to show people those 1,080 squats and 854 bench, and it's important for you to show people that you were second in the world at the biggest powerlifting meet that they have.
Yep.
The most prestigious powerlifting meet that there is.
Yeah.
You were second in the world, and on top of that, you got a PhD, and you got a lot of other good things going for you. And there's not a lot of people in the industry that are like that.
Oh, I like this so far. It's really pumping me up here. This
well,
is good.
we'll get to some harder stuff here in a second.
Oh, is it going to be harder?